Good evening and welcome to Newshour. I am David Patrick Kamara. Coming up in this edition of Newshour, Sierra Leone begins the implementation of the free education for the first time. We shall bring you reports from various schools on how the first day of school went. President Bio calls on Peace Corps volunteers to continue their good work. Sierra Leone Petroleum Directorate signs an MOU with the government of Equatorial Guinea on oil and gas exploration and production, and the Ministry of Health to receive 10% of the 2019 national budget instead of the 12% the ministry is requesting. Details on the story and more are lined up in this edition of Newshour. Welcome back and thanks for joining us on Newshour. For our first story tonight, President Julius Madam Peace Corps volunteers to continue their good work as Peace Corps initiative has a very good record in Sierra Leone. The President made a call during an interactive session with the volunteers at State House. Hamosiri reports.
Peace Corps volunteers have started providing support to various schools and also the health sector. 26 of them are teachers and 10 of them are health practitioners working with the malaria control program and the scaling up nutrition program, says the ambassador of the United States of America, Maria Brewer.
As you know, Peace Corps has been here virtually since the founding of Sierra Leone back in the 60s. It was one of the first countries that the U.S. Placed volunteers, and we've been here. Unfortunately, we've had to leave a few times due to various reasons, but we always look for a way to come back, and I believe this is our fifth cohort since returning. So we're very excited to be back, to show this as a strong symbol of our enduring commitment on this people-to-people front. It's good for us in government to sort of have our official meetings and delegations and discussions, but even more important is what is happening at the village, the town, the city level with these volunteers.
A teacher volunteer, Piper Okefi, told the president that they have started teaching and working in communities last year, providing services in health and education. President Julius Madabio commended the Peace Corps volunteers for their commitment and services they are providing to the country. President Bio called on the American ambassador to increase the number of volunteers as education, health, and agriculture among key priorities in the New Direction agenda.
In my village, I grew up with Peace Corps, and all around we knew them for their backpacks and the bikes. I don't know if you're carrying backpacks and you're carrying bikes. I remember when I went to the United States, where I'm partially intellectually formed, I met some of them and they had fond memories of this country. In fact, I was pleasantly surprised that somebody who had to do my evaluation had worked here. And fortunately for me, I had not lied in my documentation. He started speaking Creole to me, and I was very, very surprised. But I had another one who taught me actually English in America. She was here for a very long time. We benefited quite a lot from this initiative, and I'm happy that you're back, although in small numbers compared to what we're used to. But I hope that with time, the numbers are going to increase. We need help, technical, and for the new direction, education is very important to us.
President Bill spoke about the free education scheme that has commenced.
So I want to encourage you to know that you are contributing in no small way to education, and have said to this nation that education forms the bedrock of development. Education is a liberator. Education equips you with all the tools and wherewithal to live anywhere else in the world. And to make our people take part constructively and meaningfully in the development process, we have to give them these tools. We have very good brains who have not had the opportunity to be given the sort of opportunities that you've had, that some of us have had. So for me, when I say free education, it was because I value education. I know it is important in the formation of every human being today. If you have to be useful to yourself today, you have to have the skills and knowledge which only education can give.
He called on them to continue working with the communities as their work is highly appreciated by the government. SABC TV News are in Freetown. Hawa Mosiwe reporting.
Well, now let's move over to the story of the day. More than 2 million estimated Sierra Leonean pupils are expected to benefit from the government's free education, which began today. The free education campaign was a campaign promised by President Bio. While the acting principal of the Freetown Secondary School for Girls, FSSG, has said that the turnout on the first day of school was very encouraging. Florence Kuyembe made the statement when SLBC went out this morning to look at the turnout of pupils on the reopening of schools. Mariam Asuma reports.
Back to school on the first day of the reopening of school. The turnout was huge and with excitement, especially for newcomers and those who have been promoted to a new class. They are all beneficiaries of the free education scheme. Parents were also happy as financial burden on them has been reduced significantly. Acting principal of the St. Joseph Secondary School, Rachel Parker, said that the turnout of the pupils was very encouraging.
The turnout of the pupils is very good because as this is a grade A school, you see, you yourself can go down and see. Now they are all here, very eager, and so I think the turnout today is very good.
The free and quality education scheme was launched on the 20th of August at the Mieta Conference Hall by President Pio. The acting principal of the Freetown Secondary School for Girls, Florence Kuyembe, confirmed to SLBC that they have received school subsidies and fees for the pupils, for which they are happy.
Rooms like between 2 to 3 classrooms which are big enough to take 60. But then we are not going to exceed the 50 per class because that is what the government has asked us to do.
Some of the pupils who were present at school expressed delight for the reopening of schools and also thanked President Bio for the free and quality education scheme.
The opportunity that he gave us to start a new school. I want to tell him thank you.
Some parents are still seeking admission for their children as they were seen around schools with their children who are yet to be admitted. SLBC News, Mariam Asuma reporting.
Still on the reopening of schools, SLBC's Ibrahim Samura was at the E.B. Williams Primary and Secondary School at Jomo Kenyatta Road in Freetown to assess the start of the school year.
This is the E.B. Williams Primary School, and this is one of the schools being supervised by the Freetown City Council. As school reopens today, the SLBC is out and about to see the turnout of schools. But when we came here at the E.B. Williams School, we realized that the pupils have been transferred to the Dr. S.M. Brodich Primary School. Also, that school is also being supervised by the Freetown City Council. Reports gathered so far from the school authority that the school was demolished as a result of the poor condition of the school, and also the school was dilapidated before it was demolished. The reason being, according to the authority, that the Freetown City Council got some support from humanitarian organization to rebuild the school. But as we are speaking now, the pupils have been transferred to the Dr. Assembly School just to be there temporarily, I think for 3 months. Upon completion of the school, then the pupils can transfer. But so far from reports, with this school has Chusi, which is the primary and the junior secondary school, and upon the school. But according to the school authority, they are calling now the government and other stakeholders just to speed up the project so that their pupils will return to this building. Reporting for SLPC News, I am Ibrahim Samuel, reporting from E.B. Williams Primary School.
Ibrahim Samora there. Well, still with education, teachers are the main service providers. It is they who deal with the kids on a daily basis. How prepared is the Sierra Leone Teachers Union, SLTU, which has more than 20,000 membership nationwide? Well, Mohamed Salih Bangura is the president of SLTU, and in this interview with Maini Mansare, he called on his colleagues to abstain from extra charges as punitive measures will be taken against defaulters.
Launching of the free quality education implementation today, the 17th of September, I think it is a happy day for every Sierra Leonean who is positive towards the development of the country. And the teachers, these are the manpower on the ground. I believe we are totally committed in the implementation of the free quality education. And we as an organization, before the reopening of schools today, we have already alerted our members right across the country to monitor the situation on a daily basis and give us a report at headquarters. And I think our members and our officials, they are doing that. They are doing that effectively. But one thing which I want to bring to the notice of authorities and all stakeholders is the improvement of the salaries and conditions of teachers, conditions of service for teachers. This is very, very paramount, because if teachers are not motivated, they will not have that total commitment to the implementation of the free quality education. And I think we as a leadership of the organization, we are preparing to engage government to negotiate for the increase and improvement of conditions of service for teachers. And people, we are talking about the supply of material. What we want to advise the government is that to try to wipe out this black market of school materials. Once school materials they get to the schools, they move out of the schools into the black market, wherein people start to sell them. I think the government should take proactive measures to stop that. If not, the materials will find themselves in the back alleys of street vendors and other racketeers. I think that will not augur well for the implementation of the free quality.
That was the president of the Sierra Leone Teachers Union, SLTU, Mohamed Salih Bangura. And as part of the package for the free education scheme, government is to provide 4 key textbooks, exercise books, and other school items. Are these items available, and when are they going to be distributed? Rose Kunima Stevens spoke to the Deputy Director of Education, Western Area Urban, Nana Bokari, who gave assurance that the books will be distributed before the end of the week.
Is working with requirements of the government. They will have 50 pupils per class. She noted that some parents buy school materials from vendors before coming with their kids for admission.
Parents, we aren't forced to buy books or school comics. In fact, I practically told them if they are willing to buy, let them buy, because these are very, very important materials for the teaching and learning process. And not just for the teaching and learning process. You know, I also explain to them discipline of the kids. And besides, most parents bought the rest of the books because books from the free education are not yet here. So they bought the rest of the books, they bought the uniforms, they bought some school collars. Because these school collars identify this.
For the newly admitted ones and the continuing pupils, Madam McFoy said learning materials will be provided to meet their targeted requirements. Deputy Director Western Urban, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Nana Bokari, informed SLBC that one of the challenges that is delaying supply of school materials is traffic along some major streets. She emphasized that some books have been distributed to various schools, including the St. Edward's Secondary School, King Tom. There is just a small consignment for the Prince of Wales, noting that the larger portion is on its way to all schools. Remaining learning materials of the free quality education package would be available after procurement process. However, some parents have already purchased learning materials, including core textbooks. SLBC News, Rose Konima Stevens.
Now let's join our reporter Francis Danema, who visited the Faraway Secondary School for Girls and the St. Edward's Secondary School.
The implementation of the free education started on Monday, 17 September 2018. This means no school charges should be levied by any school authority managing government and government-assisted schools. Reports reaching the SLBC indicate that, so far, the turnout of pupils of both schools was good. Teachers were seen in all classes visited. Here at Faraway School, teachers were busy teaching in all the classes visited. However, Class 6 pupils of St. Edward's Primary School said they were waiting to be taught by their teacher. According to the head teacher of St. Edward's Primary School, Marie Bernadette Jimmy, the teachers were in a meeting with her to discuss the free education policy and to spur them to work with her by providing standard education to the pupils. She said she could not confirm whether the subsidies have reached the school accounts. The head teacher of St. Edward's Primary School added that she had not received teaching and learning materials from the government. The head teacher for Faraway Primary School for Girls, Jandy Kenny, said her school has received subsidies and has bought teaching materials for teachers so that they will not sit and wait for the government's supply. Both head teachers were hopeful of receiving teaching and learning materials this week. The Coalition for Free, Quality and Accessible Education also visited several schools in Freetown. Head of Secretariat, Coalition for Free, Quality and Accessible Education, Abdullahi Sware, said they observed that children turned out in their numbers to attend school in the first day in school, unlike the previous years. He said they also found out that some schools are overpopulated. He said children across the country have called on the coalition and government to closely monitor the schools to prevent taking money from them for assignments, results, and other expenses.
What we did was like having a consultation, a regional consultation. First, we had a consultation with children in the western area. So we also visited the provinces last week, and we have to really consult with children from almost all the districts. Some of them to say things about their teachers, about teachers collecting money from them, and other things.
He promised that they will be compiling all their reports and share them with the Ministry of Education for prompt action. SLBC News, Francis Ndanema reporting.
You're watching Newshour on the SLBC with me, David Patrick Camara. Now away from the free and quality education story. Sierra Leone Petroleum Directorate has signed an MOU with the government of Equatorial Guinea through its Ministry of Mines and Hydrocarbon that will allow cooperation between the two countries in the area of oil and gas exploration and production. The signing ceremony, which took place at the Directorate's headquarters at Hill Station, was witnessed by the Minister of Mines and Hydrocarbon of Equatorial Guinea, Honorable Gabriel Benga Obiang Lima, who signed on behalf of his country. Al-Musiri has the story.
Gabriel Lima said his visit to Sierra Leone is as a result of successful discussions between President Julius Maada Bio and President Teodoro Obiang Juma Basongo of Equatorial Guinea, in which the two heads of state agreed to organize the visit. As one of Africa's biggest oil-producing countries, Mr. Gabriel Lima disclosed that President Juma Basongo has always encouraged them to share their experiences with other African countries that have the potential to produce oil and gas. He said the signing of the MOU is a significant one, as it will allow them to cooperate and give the opportunity to share their experiences.
We have fulfilled his wish that we strengthen the cooperations between Sierra Leone and Equatorial Guinea. So I'm coming here as a mandate to make sure that we can start a relationship of exchanging of experience. After all, this is what it is. So we do believe that the experience that we have gained in oil and gas, we have a commitment as a brotherly African country to transmit that same knowledge and experience to other African countries, the same way that other African countries give it to us. So with that, of course, with this, we expect that we will have joint visits, either Sierra Leone team coming to Equatorial Guinea, like Equatorial Guinea teams coming here, to be able to see if we can find those areas in which we can strengthen our cooperation. Director General of the Sierra Leone Petroleum Directorate, Timothy Kaba, said it was a privilege to sign an MOU with a country known for its success story in oil and gas. He said his directorate was energized by President Bio's vision to positively transform Sierra Leone. The Petroleum Director General noted that the country's oil and gas industry was showing positive signs and that it will be a great opportunity working with a country like Equatorial Guinea, whose industry is already a success story.
Having you here today is a very historic moment, and to sign a memorandum of understanding between our government and that of Equatorial Guinea, especially owing to the fact that Equatorial Guinea as a nation that is mature in oil and gas exploration and production, we stand to benefit as a nation from your experiences, the lessons you've learned, so that we can in many ways avert the snares that are always laying down in exploration.
He said the government of President Bio had promised and already shown goodwill to the world that Sierra Leone is happy and ready to support credible investment in the sector that would move the country forward. SABC TV News Eye in Freetown, Al-Musiri reporting.
Now, as the financial year 2019 budget discussion continues with ministries, departments and agencies, the Principal Deputy Financial Secretary, Matthew Dingy, has said that the Ministry of Health and Sanitation will receive 10% of the 2019 national budget instead of the 12% the ministry is requesting. The Director of Reproductive and Child Health, Dr. Sati Kane, spoke about the key deliverables for 2019 to our own Patrick Aruna Kamara.
Everything is important, but we prioritized human resource, we prioritize diagnostics, and we prioritize service delivery. In service delivery is actually, you can call it double, but you have a lot of them. Key of it is the national ambulance services for emergency, and then of course we prioritize the commodities, the drugs and equipment.
Okay, so in total, what is the total amount of your budget, 2019 budget?
Well, for our recurrent budget, the need plus the public implementation programs, of course, and then the wage bills, they went up to 496.7 billion, something like that. But then there are new direct initiatives that we take based on few key findings that we know. We're knowing that most of our pregnant women are anemic, or even women within childbearing group. And talking about equitable health care delivery, unacceptable. But then as you look at it, our system is skewed towards the urban areas. So we are prioritizing towards local or rural area health service delivery. One of it is the laboratory. The innovative things is we want to have a state-of-the-art diagnostic center with all the sort of imaging. We can do MRI, the magnetic resonance imaging. We can do the CT scan. We can do echocardiography. We can do radiotherapy, phototherapy, photodynamic therapy. This is something we want. And again, this is what is really taking a huge chunk of money out of this country to other countries like Ghana, India. You know, from when we based it on population, the money they use to serve 30 people going overseas, when these things are here, can serve 600 people. So I mean, there's no way you can really compromise or compare those two.
Okay.
So having those one, if we have that in the budget with an increment of another 201, so we'll be expecting something like 600 and close to 690 to 700 billion, okay, which will mark the 14% of government GDP.
Well, that was the Director of Reproductive and Child Health in the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Sati Kane, speaking there to Aruna Patrick Kamara. Well, now for the latest in sports, let's move over and join Esther Marie Samora.
It's a hearty welcome to Sports Update on Newshour. In this edition, defending champions of the Milamark Football Foundation competition, Kokobe community were defeated by Lobsters by 3-1 in the opening ceremony of the competition. The kickoff was taken by the Minister of Sport, Ibrahim Yelenke, at the Carlton KO playing field in Freetown. Here is a report.
Of this campaign out to that one side.
Thousands of football fans were at the Carlton KO playing field to watch the opening ceremony match between defending champion Kokol Bay and Lobsters football teams. Abdul Mansare of Kokol Bay FC opened the score sheet in the opening ceremony in the first half before Abubakar Jallo scored the equalizing goal. Abdul Chilo Toure scored a brace that saw Lobsters defeating Kokol Bay by 3-1. According to Toure, his scoring ability is as a result of hard training and is anticipating winning the top goal scorer award at the end of the competition. Declaring the 2018 football competition opened, the Minister of Sport, Ibrahim Yelenke, maintained that the Milamark Foundation is not only focused on sport but engaged on other activities. He called on spectators to be law-abiding and refrain from violence in the competition. According to head coach of Kokol Bay, Ernest Crowder, they were defeated because the opposing team came with determination. As defending champions, other teams want to clinch the championship trophy from them.
It's very hard for me because this was not the result I was expecting. And also, for my boys. They did well, but it's the first game and it's an open ceremony. We know what it's been for the community and for the people that have seen our community the last competition. Next year we went to the final. But as of today, we accept the results, you understand? And it's a good game. I hope and pray that our next game will be different.
Football personalities, including the Deputy Minister of Sport, Kai Lawrence Bayo, Mohamed Kalon, were present. Esther Samra reporting for SLBC TV. And Sierra Leone wins silver medal in the men's category after forfeiting the gold medal match in the Gambia from a winning position. From reports gathered, Sierra Leone was leading the Gambia 13-10 in the first set when Ibrahim Kamal got down on the sand complaining of body pain and he was rushed to the hospital. And for the reason, Gambia were winner of the competition. That's all for sports tonight. I am Esther Samra. Thanks for watching.
Many thanks indeed to Esther Samura for the latest in sport. Well, to end the news, the main points again. Sierra Leone has begun the implementation of the free education for the first time. President Bio calls on Peace Corps volunteers to continue their good work. Sierra Leone Petroleum Directorate has signed an MOU with the government of Equatorial Guinea on oil and gas exploration and production, and the Ministry of Health to receive 10% of the 2019 national budget instead of the 12% the ministry is requesting. Well, that's all in this edition of Newshour broadcast live on the SLBC. Thanks for your company. I am David Patrick Kamara, and from Broadcasting House in New England, good night.